the goals were not changing. Like, it felt like I was recycling these goals. But the thing that I began to notice was that around me, there were people who you would have a discussion with about the things that you're going to do. And when the rest of us would go back home, sit on our laurels, do what we have always done, there was always that person in the squad who it was only a matter of time. In a few weeks, in a few months, they would be moving. Not only moving, but like properly getting things done. So they were the kind of people who were actually making progress, setting goals, getting things done, moving on to the next thing. Whilst I felt like I was stagnant. I was not moving. But the other thing that really annoyed me was the fact that I was busy. Like, I was doing a lot of things, but I was not getting the things that I wanted. So I realized at that point that I think there is something that I do not know. And I need to find out what that thing is. I need to understand what is it that the people who are moving, the people who are getting things done, the people who are succeeding, what is it that they are doing? And so I made a decision and a commitment that I was going to find out, what do I need to do to move from recycling New Year's resolutions every year to actually getting things done? And so I decided to invest into my personal development. I started reading books more intentionally, but I also made the commitment to apply the things that I was reading because I love reading. So I was always reading books. But part of the commitment was the decision to now start applying what I would have learned in those books. And amongst the many things that I found around how to succeed, how to achieve your goals, 3 things began to emerge for me. Number 1 was the reason and the importance of being clear on your goals. Like I said, remember, when a lot of us decide what they want to do with the year, a lot of it is based around, I want to get better, I want to get healthier. But what does that mean, right? And so getting to a place of understanding that it wasn't enough to want more, to want to do better, but it was important for you to get very clear on what is it that you want to actually do. What do your goals look like? What will success look like? What will it look like when you have achieved this thing? So the first thing that I came to understand as something that was important, but something that I was not doing, was clarifying your goals, becoming very, very clear on what will success look like, right, for you. The second thing that I realized was, even after we had made our plans clear, our goals clear, a lot of people ended there. So it would then be like, oh, I want to buy a car, right? Sometimes the car would then even have the clarity of like, oh, I want to buy, a red Honda Fit, or I want to do my master's and so and so. But setting a goal is pretty much like deciding where you want to go. Now, if you decide where you want to go, but go ahead and do nothing and sit where you've always said and do what you've always done, you and I know that you're not going to get to the place that you decided to go. So over and above the importance of clarifying what you want to do, I then realized the importance of making a plan on how am I going to move from where I am to get to where I want to go. Enter planning. Deciding how you are going to move from where you are to where you want to go. Deciding a plan around what will it take for me to move from where I am to where I want to go. The first thing was setting clear goals. The second thing was making a plan on how are you going to achieve these things that you want to achieve. And the third thing that stood out for me as I invested into my personal development, mentorship, and reading books was realizing that even after you have clarified what you want to do and you have set goals, if you don't go ahead and execute on that plan in a very structured and intentional way, you will still not achieve what it is that you have set out to achieve. So I realized, and for me, there are so many things that I'd learned over time. But 2 reasons that these 3 things stood out for me was, number 1, because I knew that I wasn't doing this. I was just being vague with my goals. I was never making a proper plan of what I was going to do. And once I started implementing, I didn't have a structured way of ensuring that I'm executing my plan in ways that will actually get me to where I want to go. So I learned these 3 things and I committed to doing them better in my life. But I also realized that nobody else was teaching us how to do these things. Now, I'm going to ask you in the chat, please let me know if you ever took a goal setting class in any of the academic institutions that you've been? In the chat, yes or no? Did you ever take a goal setting class in any of your academic journeys? There we go. No. And this was across the board. But how many of us have been told that you have to be successful in life? You can use your reactions. Please raise your hand, your reactions on the Zoom, on your Zoom reactions. If you have ever been told or given the expectation at any point that you have to be successful, you need to be successful, we have invested in your education, we want you to be successful. I see the hands going up. So this is the thing that bothered me. The fact that there was an expectation for me to succeed, for me to build on what I have learned, but there was no blueprint on, so how do I crystallize the plan? How do I make the plan? And how do I work that plan? So having applied these things in my personal life and beginning to see progress, I got excited because I got to a point where I could actually set goals in my life. I moved away from New Year's resolutions and I started setting smart goals in my life. I could decide that I want to save so much money towards this thing by this time, and I would make a plan and I would work that plan and I would succeed. I began to become very intentional around my health and fitness, to be like, I want to eat healthier. So, and eating healthier for me means eating so many meals, drinking so many liters, and I started making progress, and that really excited me. But I was bothered by the fact that there wasn't a lot of intentional teaching around how to help people to set goals. Now, the other thing about me is I'm a stationery junkie. I love books. I love to read books. I love to write. I love to buy books. I am the person who has a book for everything in my life. Everything in my life has books, right? So when I started thinking around how do I help people to learn how to set their goals, to make plans and to work their plans, one of the easiest things that I thought of and decided to do was to create a tool that will help people to do this. Now, I'm a lover of diaries. And so at that point, I was using a John Maxwell planner. And the John Maxwell planner had this place where like you could actually, decide what you're doing on a daily basis. But my big frustration became, but how do I even decide what I'm doing today if I have not set out a longer term plan? So I decided that I want to create a tool, a planner, a daily organizer that helps people before I even get to Monday to decide what I'm doing on Monday. Could I have the clarity of what am I doing this month? What am I doing this year? What am I doing this month? And then breaking that down to shape what I then do on a daily basis. So I decided that I want to create a daily organizer that helps people to clarify their goals, develop action plans, and track their progress towards their goals. So got excited, decided I was going to do this thing, and I told my friends about it. I am going to do this. Then I was like, but wait, this thing that I want is going to be like, I looked at the John Maxwell planner that I had, and then the doubt began to kick in. I was like, the only people I know who have done such a thing are John Maxwell and Stephen Covey and all the other big names in the leadership space. Now I'm just Tafadzwa, and I'm not sure that I can do this. And I looked at the pricing of their products, and I say to myself, do I even have the capacity to do this thing right now? Now, in the last few weeks, I just had a revelation. In the past, when I told this story, I said that I did my research and I discovered that I needed $7,500 to bring in a batch of 500 customized daily organizers, because from China, there's a minimum order. In the past few weeks, I probed myself and I asked, Taffy, did you really do that research? And I realized that what I did actually was I looked at the price of the market. On the market, the organizers that I was looking at were costing about $20. So I said to myself, making something like this might cost me about $15. And I did research and found that China had a minimum order. So the 7,500, I actually now realize it was a bit of research, a bit of assumptions, and a lot of fear that told me that I needed $7,500 to start producing this thing. So I say to myself, no, I do not have the money. I do not have the authority. I don't have the audience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shelve this project until I am much more well-known, until I have a lot more money, and then I'll get to this thing. So I shelved this project for a good 3 to 4 years. But what was happening along the way is that I had told some of my friends that I want to do this. And amongst the friends that I told about this is a dear friend of mine, Simba Nyamadzao. Simba, I know it is not yet your session and I know that you might not be prepared, but my good friend, if you are able to do this now, I would like you to come on camera. If not, I'll give you 5 minutes to get to the right angling and, fix up your face. But I would love you to come on camera, Simba. I hardly ever get to tell this story with Simba in the audience. But I'm calling on Simba now because Simba was one of the people that I told that I wanted to do this. And many times when we had conversations, Simba would ask me about it. Be like, Tafi, you wanted to do an organizer. How are you doing with that? And I would say, Simba, the money, the influence, it's not yet coming together. But Simba kept pushing me and asking me about this. And I've said before that I'm convinced that on a random day when Simba was bored and he had nothing to do, he'd be like, we're going to ask Tafi how it's going with that diary. So even as I had shelved it, I had friends and people around me who kept reminding me of the goal, who kept reminding me of the dream. And so eventually in 2016, I spent a big part of 2016 at home. I was on a bit of a sick leave, a bit of sabbatical due to pregnancy-related complications. But I spent a significant amount of 2016 at home. And so I got bored because I was not working and I wasn't doing a lot. So I was like, what should I do? And then I remembered, right, that I had the idea to do that. So what I then decided was I said, what I'm going to do is I'll only create 2. I will create 2 goal-getter planners, and I will have my friends use these 2 planners and give me feedback as I begin to save up and build influence towards actually launching this thing. But even then, I'd given myself a bit of a longer time frame to make sure that I actually then start working on this thing. So I said, I'm going to make 2 organizers. Now, how do I go about creating these 2 prototypes? I now know that they are called prototypes, but then it was just like, I'm going to create 2 of these, give them to my friends, allow my friends to use them and give me feedback. Then over time, see how to scale this thing. So I said, okay, what do I want to create? I want to create a customized daily organizer that has tools to help people to get things done. But the big dream is still not possible right now because China has a minimum order of 500, and whatever China's price is, I don't have that right now. But 2, I can surely find out how to do 2. So what did I do? I went on the internet and I researched. I looked around for the people in my city who sells diaries in my city. I figured, okay, let me put this thing together. So what are the key components of the product that I want? 1, it's a diary. 2, it's a diary that has tools that help people to set goals. Now, I'm going to create the goals, right? I'm creating the tool that helps people to set goals. I'll buy a diary and then let me see how I can bring it together. So I went online, I looked for people who sold diaries. But because I wanted something that I could insert my tools into, I had to find something like this, which allowed me to take out or to insert the tools that I wanted. So I worked at home. I created the pages and the tools that would help people to create their goals. I found a printing company. I went and I said, okay, I would like you to print this for me. I found somebody who sold diaries, the ones that have the binders, so that I am able to insert the tools by myself. I found a business that sold these, and I went and I ordered my 2 organizers. I wanted my product to be well branded, right? I wanted it to be like it's a goal-getter planner. I don't want it to just be your diary. I want it to be a goal-getter planner, something that reminds you on a daily basis that this is something that links you to your goals. You are planning and executing plans towards your goals. So I found a young man who designed the logo for me. So there I was, designed my tools, found somebody who sold organizers that I could insert things into, got them printed. And before I even received those 2 organizers in hand, when the printer sent me a picture of what this product was going to look like a true millennial, where do we go when we get good news? Social media. So your girl went onto Facebook and I put the pictures on Facebook. And in the post I explained, I said, guys, I've been working on this product. And I explained that I worked on the Goal Getter Planner because I had been frustrated by failing to achieve my goals. And so I had created the Goal Getter Planner to help other people to achieve their goals. So I explained why I created it. I explained the tools that were inside it. I explained that the Goal Getter Planner has tools that will help you to set smart goals, to assess your life around 8 areas, because I'd also realized that from us, for our work and our careers, our bosses and our organizations will set the goals on what we need to achieve in a year. But nobody was doing that in our lives. And as a result, all the other personal things in our lives were falling apart. Our personal finances, our health and fitness, our relationships, all of those things were falling apart because nobody was holding us to task to set goals around that. So the Goal Getter requires you to work around 8 life areas. You have to self-assess and set goals across 8 life areas. So I explained all of these things and I was really excited, right? So it will help you to set goals, self-assess in 8 life areas, make a plan that will really think through about what is the price, the process, and the people who will help you to achieve the goals. Put it on my Facebook. And in my head, I was like, maybe somebody will want to, buy this thing. But even when I said that to myself, a part of me was like, will anybody want to buy this? And then I said, no, Tafi, if anybody wants to buy this, maybe we'll be able to sell 20 of this. Because have you guys seen that thing about how many bottles Coca-Cola sold in their first year? If you have seen that, put that in the chat. Does anybody know the number of Coca bottles that Coca-Cola is said to have sold in their first year? Anybody knows? Don't go and Google. But anyway, no, Cecilia says what? No, it was actually 25. Coca-Cola sold 25 bottles in their first year. So I look at it and I'm like, the whole Coca-Cola that we now know, so 25 bottles. So I say to myself, maybe, Tafi, maybe if we sell 20 in our first year, we would have made progress. So that's how I said, when I saw people started expressing interest, I was like, maybe if we sell 20, we'll be good. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and people are just randomly now messaging me in my Facebook, Tafi, I want the planner. Tafi, I want the planner. And I'm just writing their names down. But I was writing their names down in random places. On the Friday, when I'm now supposed to tell my printers how many of these they should make, I then counted the numbers. And I realized 30 people had ordered this product that I had not yet held in my hands, but that I had designed and knew and told them why I designed it and how they wanted to do it. Now, I know that the ordinary reaction to that would have been excitement. I was not excited. I got scared. I got really, really scared. Because remember, my plan was that I would do this thing when I had more influence, when I had more money. And to tell you the truth, in my head, I never wanted to run a business. Because as far as I was concerned, business people were the people who paid other people's salaries. And I didn't want the headache of worrying about other people's salaries. So when I realized there was 30 orders, I panicked. And I remember I went to T and I said, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I just wanted to help people to achieve their goals. Yes, I designed the product, but for some reason in my head, I had not thought this out through very well. Now, so finally, people had already ordered the 30. So I said, okay, fine, we'll do it. So went ahead, ordered the diaries, dispatched the first batch, and after a while, the thing that began to really happen with Goal Getter planners is, because we are a very social media generation, as people got them, they started posting them on their social medias. So in the first year, I never really advertised Goal Getter planners. Don't do this when you're starting a business. I was naive, foolish, and excited. But I never really advertised it, but word of mouth went round. And by the end of our first year, by the end of the first 11 months, we had sold 504 goal-getter planners. And out of the excitement of the goal-getter planners, I started getting training opportunities. I started getting requests to go and train on time management, to go and train on goal setting. And because my background was already in training, that is sort of how the business began to grow. Started by selling the planners, then went into speaking. I was already a Toastmaster and a speaker, but I started to focus a lot more around goal setting and time management and all of that. Because I was already a trainer, corporate organizations started to invite me to speak about training. But my personal development journey has also taught me that it's not just knowledge that people lack. Sometimes people need a bit more tools and thinking and planning around how they can implement this. So I started designing. Whenever I was asked to speak, I would go back to the client and say, listen, I can come and give a talk to your people. I can come and talk about my journey. But at the end of the day, I don't know if that's what your people are looking for. So the conversation with corporates began to go a lot more around, okay, how do I provide the tools for your people to plan better? How do I provide the training and the space for your people to plan so that they can do better? And the fourth thing that I then added to that was coaching, because I had experienced the power of coaching in my own life. And I decided that if I'm going to support people to actually achieve their goals, sometimes you have all the knowledge, you have all the tools, but the thing that's holding you back is your own behaviors, your beliefs, the systems that are running in your life, which are holding you back in space. So I decided to get certified as a coach because I wanted to be able to support people through the journey. So that's how I worked on my coaching certification. And over the past 4 years, I was working for goal-getter consultants, purely goal-getter consultants. And a lot of our work was around helping individuals and teams to create clarity around what they want to achieve, to develop plans on how to achieve those goals, and providing them with a lot of accountability and support on how to achieve those goals. Last year, I made a transition. Over the last 3 years, I had been working with 3 other people who were running their own businesses. And part of the clarity that came with the COVID pandemic was realizing that we used to come together to work with bigger corporate organizations, and we were still all running our own businesses. But last year we made the decision that our work in the corporate world was likely to gain more momentum if we focused on the partnership. So as was said in my bio at the start, starting late last year, a lot of my training, coaching, and consulting is now going through the partnership, where we are now working together to work with corporates. Goal-Getter Tribe is now where the Goal-Getter Planner sits. We have now since expanded it, and we have quite a number of productivity tools, productivity planning and goal setting tools that now sit under the Goal-Getter Tribe. And I'm now cultivating more the tribe and the community of people who are sitting in the Goal-Getter Tribe. So that is the story of how a girl who just wanted to help people set their goals, plan their lives, and get things done, started a business, is running a business, and is now helping corporates. Now, what are the 3 lessons that I would like to share with you from my own personal journey and from what I've learned over the years? Firstly, start small. I mentioned to you that when I started, in my head, it was this big thing, right? It was the big thing in my head was bringing in 500 of these things, right? And doing it at a grand scale. But what I'm now learning to know and respect is many times the way that we magnify our goals is a way of delaying. It's a way of protecting ourselves from the fear. So if it's this big, huge thing that's out there that I can only do when I'm at Stephen Covey level or John Maxwell level, I'm justified to delay my starting it because I'm not yet there. Anybody who has ever started anything in this world started small. They started as an amateur. They started without knowing what it is they're doing. They started without even the capacity to actually complete what it is they started. One of the things that I like to say is you have everything it takes to get started. You might need to improve yourself along the way to get to the finish line and to finish first. But for starting, to start on your goals, you already have everything it takes to get started. So get started. Start small. And starting small is the idea of how do I bring together the various components of my big goal to make sure that in the long term, I'm beginning to put these things together. I was not going to be able to bring in the first batch of 500 things. But because I decided to start with 2, I found local resources around me that could bring all of these things together. I didn't get one finished product. I worked with 4 suppliers at the start. Somebody was selling me diaries. Somebody else was printing my tools. Somebody was doing my branding, right? But I started. And what I've learned over time is that that has actually developed deep relationships for me because I have a lot of people who are investing into this product. The beauty of starting small is you learn very fast. One of the things that I've always been grateful for is the fact that, remember I told you in my first batch, I'd ordered 2. And by the time that I was collecting, I had 30. Now, here's the beautiful thing. When the first 30 people got their goal-getter planners, they started sending me feedback. Taffy, the print is small. Taffy, the branding is positioned in a way that it's starting to reach. I was getting feedback. And I can promise you that the person who got the 31st goal-getter planner received a product that was already slightly better than the people who got it in the first batch. Now imagine if I had waited and I'd said, I need 500 planners shipped for me from China, and they get here and I realized that those 500 had a huge mistake that I couldn't correct. Starting small allows you to figure out mistakes, correct very fast, and improve as you go. There's a saying that says like, the fall of a big tree is much more dangerous and harmful. If you learn your mistakes as your business is smaller and you start small, the impact of your mistakes is much easier. If you make a mistake with one prototype or the first batch, it's easier and cheaper for you to correct those mistakes with one person and even earn the reputation of improving and getting feedback. Starting small allows you to make your mistakes but improve real fast because you're not already stuck with this big investment that you have made. Even now, as I'm thinking about my financial freedom, a lot of us think that, oh, I'll only start saving, I'll only start doing things when I'm at a certain stage. My friend, if you saved up all of your money and decided, now I have $5,000 and I'm going to go into investment, and you make a mistake with that investment, all of that money is gone. But if you start by investing just $50 and you learn, oh, I shouldn't have made that investment, you are learning fast and you have an opportunity to start improving. Starting small allows you to gain confidence as you go. With every soul that I met, I became more and more confident in the fact that I could actually run a business. But if I had started big and I had failed on only one day, my confidence would take a very big blow. And I would have said, business is not for me. But because I had started small and I was taking small steps, every hit would be like, oh my God, today we failed. A customer was not happy. A customer closed and they shout. But because I am building credibility a little over time, it was easier to take the hits, go home, cry over it, and get back tomorrow and say, I'm getting back in the game. There is nothing wrong with starting big if you can. I'm just letting you know that the mistakes might be harder for you to make up to. Your confidence might take bigger hits. But particularly if you are delaying, because the real reason you are delaying is, I want to start big, when that's just an excuse. It's going to cost you, my friend. And the rest of the world is waiting on you to unleash your gifts so that we can all benefit. Today, as I hear of the stories of people who have been able to smash their goals, to actually accomplish their goals, to get their jobs, to run a marathon, to save money, to spend more time with their families, to get closer to God by actually reading the Bible. When I hear those things, some days I'm like, but Lord, what if I hadn't been obedient? What if I had not actually started Goal Getter when I did? Because every person who encounters your product or your service is somebody who will benefit from the work of your hands. So starting small means that you might be impacting people little by little, but you're already actually spreading the impact. So my first advice is start small. Find the smaller pieces that you can do. If it's a big farm of chickens that you're envisioning, start by buying 1 or 2. If that one dies, you will know that, oh, we must not skip a vaccine, right? If it's Whatever business it is that you're trying to do, start small. Even if you already run a business and you're thinking of piloting a new product or service, and this is something that we've always done with our trainings. If we think of an idea, we are always like, we think of ideas and we find our clients who might not afford our big corporates, and we're like, hey, can we run this thing with you? We run it, we quickly figure out the lessons, we begin to build confidence, and sooner than later, we're offering it to our bigger, higher ticket clients. So my first advice to you is start small. Start small, but plan to grow. Now, you remember when I mentioned earlier on that in the first year of Go Getter, I did no advertising, right? Because word of mouth was spreading the word. But it would have been folly of me if I then said I never advertise. Because a thing that happens mostly when you go into business is our first customers are usually our family and friends. They are people who buy into our passion. They are people who see our excitement. And that is very true. The people who bought the first 504 Go Getter planners were people that I knew, or people who knew somebody who I knew. It was at most, it was somebody who knows somebody that I know. But it was never like, there was never somebody who bought in the first year who I didn't know. It was people within my network. Now, if I hadn't planned to grow, I might not have started to really look at this product like a product. And now here's where I'm going to now go into the details. The first year that we did the Go Getter Planner, because I was bringing in all of these people together, it actually cost me $17 to produce one planner. But because I was working from a place of passion and excitement, I sold the first Go Getter planners for $20 a year. So that means I was making a profit of what? $3. We haven't factored in delivery and all of these things. So it's safe to say that in my first year of Go Getter planners, yes, I had numbers, but I made a loss. At best, I broke even, but I doubt it because, there were expenses and I was living my life. Plan to grow your business. Begin to understand the business side of your business. A lot of people, I am a coach. I'm a coach, a trainer, a facilitator, and a speaker. If I had not started thinking about my business, I would spend all of my time stuck in the good things. I would find people to coach for free, right? Planning to grow means you begin to invest in understanding what is the business? How does a business actually work? And one of the difficult decisions that I had to make in the second year of selling Go Getter planners was increasing our price to $35. Part of that was because I was not yet able to reduce on the economies of scale. Remember, we were literally buying these by order. So I couldn't negotiate with my suppliers. But as I begin to understand what sets the Go Getter apart, we began to see, okay, what are our unique value adds? This is a customized product, right? So the Go Getter planner, it's a customized daily organizer. It comes with your name. It comes with your personal tagline. And I don't compromise on that because that's what it is. It's a personal journey to achieving your goals. But that also comes at a premium. So we had to start thinking around what are the changes that we need to make to ensure that the business is sustainable. I changed the pricing. I added features to include the customization, but I also knew and identified what things was I not good at as a business person and how do I begin to build competence around that. I begin to set much more intentional and structured goals around how are we going to grow? How are we going to get more people to buy this product? Start small, but plan to grow. Set goals for your business growth. Every month, be sure to think and know, how did I do last month? What am I going to do differently this year to make sure that I achieve this goal and I get moving? Growth has to be very intentional. If you are not intentional about your business growth, sooner than later, the business will fail and you have to close down. So plan to grow. And a part of planning to grow is investing into yourself and investing into the people around you. The other day I was saying to somebody, I think the hardest thing that nobody tells people about entrepreneurship is that it's a deeply personal journey. Running a business is a deeply, deeply personal journey. Remember what I said earlier on about you have everything it takes to start. You have everything it takes to start. It's going to take everything. It's going to take a lot from you. It will take things to start, and then it will start demanding things you don't know you have or things that you are not willing to give yet. What does that mean? It means that at the start, you will need to put in the hours. You'll need to get outside of your comfort zone to do things that you're not comfortable with. And that's good when you're being asked for the things that you already have. It gets tricky when you're not being asked for things that you do not have or you do not like or that you're not comfortable with. You begin to change who you are. You're not a morning person. Awesome. Nobody cares. We're running a business. We need you to become a morning person so that you can run this business. You don't like admin. Oh, cute. Nobody cares. You are running a business. You need to do the admin work. I have so many things that I look back at in my life that I didn't do before I ran this business. And I'm like, ooh, I had joy. Like, guys, some days I remember early on in the business, I had one day when I said, I miss my boss. I missed my boss. I know that generally the idea is that bosses can be difficult. And one day I sat in my car after the printers had told me that they couldn't deliver on an order. And I sat there and I realized I was missing my boss. I just needed somebody who I could go to and say, yeah, I tried everything, but the printers can't deliver. So, I'm going to go home and then come back tomorrow and see how we do it. I was the boss. There is nobody else who I could go to. And so when I mean that it's going to take things that you didn't even know that you had or things that you don't like, it means that you are going to have to change. You are going to have to run until you get to the end and then start again. So planning for growth is, yes, setting goals, but also getting yourself ready to deliver more than you could ever have thought you could do. The last thing that I will share is, what would I be if I talked to you and didn't talk about the tribe? Have a tribe of people around you. And for the tribe, when you're starting small, number one, it's tap into the network of people around you. When you are starting, people are excited. So tap into their excitement. Make noise about it. Let everybody in your family and your friends support you and spread the word. Utilize the network that you already have. If you have a product or a business idea that you're thinking of, start by testing it around the people around you. However, like I said, by the second year, people will move on. They're like, we've supported you. No. And that's where you now begin to start finding your real customer. And I love what the presenter before me was talking about around understanding your customer. And that's a whole thing that I'm actually still learning in the process. But the summary of it is, when you're running a business, understand the problem that you're solving. And one of the things that I say is, I don't sell diaries. I'm not a stationery shop. I sell people tools. I help people to get things done. That's what I do. And sometimes helping you to get things done is, I will sell you a tool that you can use, but I don't sell diaries. Nobody wants to buy a diary, but people care about their goals. People care about achieving the things they want. People care about overcoming their inconsistency. So as you begin to tap into people, begin to invest into clarifying, how do you help people? I'm sure you've heard the saying that nobody cares until they know that you care. That's true in business. People don't care what you're doing until they understand that you care about their problems. And I care about people's goals, and that's why people buy into my products. This is my 5th year of doing this business. Nobody's no longer supporting me because they like me. People are buying my products because I'm solving a particular problem for them. So tap into your tribe, have people support you, but over time, begin to build a product that your customers and only your customers will buy and are invested into. Have people around you who will remind you to keep going when the going gets tough, because it's going to get tough. One of my other big brothers is on the call here, and I've had so many days when I do not know what I'm doing, when I'm a consultant. But then there are times when I get that big gig that I was praying for, and they start asking me for things I have no idea about. And I'll message X and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to tell you, and we're going to figure out how to do this. Surround yourself with people who you can be vulnerable with, people who you will go and cry like a small baby or whimper like a small boy. And then you walk out of that room and you fix your jacket and you walk in like a consultant and get to the next level. Starting small means you're going to grow big. Have people around you who can help you to grow big. Have people around you who continuously support your journey on an ongoing basis. I have friends in this chat, in this audience today, and I'm literally name dropping on all my friends today. But yes, my tribe has shown up. I have people in this chat like Tuso, people like Teti, people like Sandra, who at the turn of every difficult day, they have been there. They've been supporting me. They've been distributing my products for me. I have not ever delivered a go-getter planner in Harare, but I had people who helped me there. Tap into your tribe. Have people who will show you the possibilities of what can be. I think the biggest danger of starting small is that you risk staying small. So you need mentors who will put you on their shoulders so you can see further and you can see the possibilities of what else your work can do and produce for you. If you keep playing with the people who are at your age, all you can see are the problems and you get overwhelmed by the problems around you. But if you have mentors who will lift you off the ground and put you on their shoulders, you can see way further than your friends. And you're then energized to tackle today's problems because you can see what else could be. I thought I might have a PowerPoint, but I didn't have. I love to talk. So this has been my presentation. I really hope that you find the courage to start small, start where you are with what you have. God has equipped you with everything you need to start. It might take more, but you have the capacity to build that capacity. So thank you.
That was absolutely amazing, Tafadzwa. So authentic, so relatable, so real in so many forms. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your journey. I'd like to open up for a lot of people, for the audience to ask questions. And while they get ready, we've had so many comments come through. So I'll just touch on those as we wait for the questions. So Rab says, you are a maverick. I like the passion with which you have been going out there to get goals. You are one person who implements ideas. Well done. It's been amazing seeing you rise and rise. We have a comment from Olani saying that I've been a customer of the excellent organizers that have helped my own goal-getter journey. Then you have everything it takes to get started. I think some were just highlighting some of the highlights from what you were saying. Hope says, I can relate with you saying in terms of starting small. This is very liberating and practical. Start small and build. Everyone just highlighting start small and plan to grow. Inspired, inspired, inspired. From Simba, well done, Tafadzwa, inspirational. I'll then open up. Does anyone have a question?
Questions, no questions? There are no questions. Very well. We can now close. I'm joking.
You're welcome to raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question or just turn on your mic. We've got a few more minutes. But thank you, Tafadzwa. Like from the beginning when you were sharing how every year I saw myself sitting with a New Year's resolution, and I thought, we've all been there. And for you to just, I'm so grateful for the 2 prototypes that started this whole journey, basically. Are there any hands? I know I also talk too much, so if I don't stop, they might not get a chance. Okay, we don't have any hands, but it's been an amazing and an inspirational story. Keep going. We are learning and we are inspired. I'll hand over to Ono for his final remarks.
Before Uno comes, I see that Mr. Maruta had set up. I'm wondering if he was coming on to ask a question.
Not really. I'm just overwhelmed. It was excellent. It was well prepared. Everything was in line, and you illustrate a point, then you explain it. So the answer, even the questions that we were preparing to ask, you eventually answered them before we even asked them. So I'm well pleased. I'm well pleased. Well done.
Thank you, Mr.
Very
Marita.
organized.
Olani says, when is your book coming out, Taffy, in Simba's voice? No, please don't give Simba that idea, please. Simba is a mad accountability partner. Please don't, no. Simba is not, Simba, you're not there, right? Simba is not here. He left. He went to get water. He didn't hear that. He went to get water. It's fine. Please don't, guys. The book will come. So it will.
Definitely, he will be putting pressure on.
I'll hand over to Uno. Uno, you just your volume is a bit low.
Can you hear me now? Or is it still not very
It's
clear?
still a bit low.
And I really don't know what to do. Even now.
We can hear you, but we have to listen very attentively. You can proceed though.
Okay, give me a second.
I hope you can hear me now. I just wanted to say thank you very much, Tafadzwa. Most of the, so when you're speaking and you're telling your story, it just leaves you, it's a very difficult vote of thanks to give, because I'm still in a state of mind that Mr. Maruta explained very well, where there are no questions when Tafadzwa, no questions, because you answered all the questions in your speech, but you also inspired us and gave us the permission to start exactly where we are with what we have. And the examples that you give are the examples that we really need. And if there is someone who represents authenticity very well, it is Tafadzwa. And the first time getting to see Tafadzwa was on Facebook. And she would write each and every part of her journey as she was starting these, what do you call this? These journals or diaries. And I remember my first diary, the one that I also bought from her. From here in Cape Town, someone came and delivered that to me. And I remember buying the second and the third. And then by the time we met, it was just like, I know this person because I can relate. When you see her posts, it's not like, hey guys, hey, look at us. We've done these amazing things. She will say the struggle I went through and the things it just makes you relate. And this is exactly what we need if we are to learn about entrepreneurship. And that's what you always give. And I value that about you, that you are able to come down to where we all are and take us with in your growth journey. And I'm so excited to see that your business is growing. I will not share the number that you shared with me about some corporate you're training now and how much they're charging. I was just like, come on. From 2 diaries to a fee that probably would take a bus of diaries now for 2 days worth of work. I'm just like, come on, this is what we need for us to grow. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you, Sim. You can do the deed of the tenderpreneur.
Thank you very much, Uno. So it's that time where the madam with the tender for pictures takes over, and we get a record of this moment with the inspirational Madam Tafadzwa Sasa. Over to you,
All right, so guys, if you don't know who the madam with the tender is, that would be me. So please switch on your videos and let us take these pictures so that I can get paid. I really love what Tafadzwa said, which is, you need to count every cent, and it's something that we don't realize, especially when we're starting. I think that is my personal takeaway. And I love that you are, you are advising start small so that you are able to count the cents, so that if the cents are, you know, too high, they're not that high because you started small. I really love that, Tafadzwa. Thank you.